What's up, everybody? I hope you all are having a very blessed and wonderful day. And if not, I do pray and hope that it gets better because you deserve it. You definitely do. I would like to say thank you for stopping back by the channel and checking out today's video because it means a lot to me and I do appreciate it. So today will be a quick video, right? As we're going to be discussing why I think choosing to go with the Suicide Squad instead of making another Batman Arkham game or even another hero focused game, but mostly Batman, was a good idea, right? So for those who remember, way back when there were some rumored games that were said to be underneath Rocksteady's banner in terms of what their next possible project could be. Now, some of those rumors included a Superman game and a Flash game, and there was also a Damian Wayne focused game where he would have ended up becoming a new Batman. Just to, clear that up because there are still some people who don't know. So that Damian Wayne game was actually going to be underneath WB Montreal's banner, the same studio behind Arkham Origins and Gotham Knights, but that ended up getting canned. Now, as we ended up finding out later on for Rocksteady, right? Rocksteady actually did pitch a Superman game, but that ended up falling through, so it was right back to the drawing board. Now, I just want to say that, in my opinion, right, Superman isn't really that hard of a game to create. One of the best Superman games to me, of the few of them that exist, is Superman Returns, a movie tie-in game that I feel like did a pretty decent job, right? It's simply, when you hear casual gamers speak about it, right, they want Superman to be able to do everything underneath the sun and above it as well, because he's one of the most broken characters in comics, and people want to see that represented in full in a game. And I get that, but at the same time, they forget that this just not simply possible, right? Like what they're asking for, at least, is impossible. They want a game where they can shatter a literal moon with a single punch, or drag every planet from a galaxy over to a different one just in order to find a new home, or pulling a giant magical spear out of the source wall. Y'all, like, that's just stuff y'all can't do, right? The same goes to Flash. People want to be able to cover the entire span of the planet within like 5 to 10 seconds. People don't understand that while this stuff can be fun, yeah, we don't need to have an over-the-top superhero game for it to be fun. Some even really try to use the opinion that, since we're on new technology, new consoles and computers that are consistently being upgraded, that stuff should be able to handle creating a game where there's truly no limit on what the player can do in order to justify their opinions. But just because maybe it can be done doesn't mean that everything will pan out the way you expect. Like, I can name a couple of other games right now that are some perfect examples of that. Sorry, but I'm not going to, right? These consoles are only so powerful, and everybody can afford the type of PC needed to run a game like that without crashing. Now, the first Arkham game itself was self-contained to an island, Arkham Island, not a giant sandbox of whatever your mind could pull off with the high in-depth graphics to match, right? Not only was that game great, but it also set a standard for superhero games to follow in the coming decade because it stuck to a formula. It didn't try to go balls to the wall right off the bat, no pun intended. They had a formula and they stuck to it. They continued to use that same formula while expanding on the game further and further so that it would still be in a manageable state and they wouldn't have ended up biting off more than they can chew. Other studios have done the same thing and it has bitten them in the butt tremendously. Now, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, in my opinion, has the potential to become another decade-defining game for Rocksteady. Again, I say it has a chance, and there's a very specific reason why I say that, right? The reason why I say that is because it's breaking tradition, in my opinion at least. Going as far back as the 80s, the 70s in DC's case, because they released a video game before Marvel did. We have video games for Catwoman and Constantine. Not the normal one either, the Keanu Reeves one, but we don't have a game for Wonder Woman that's not mobile. 1/3 of DC's Holy Trinity. Why do we have a game for Crypto, yet we don't have another Flash game, or Green Lantern, Shazam? Because for some reason the stigma exists that if Superman or Batman aren't connected as the main playable heroes, the game won't sell as well. Just slightly, and I do say slightly because it is extremely close. Under 50% of DC's entire gaming catalog has Batman as the billing character, or he's one of the main heroes. Example, DC Universe Online or Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, right? There's only one game in both Marvel and DC, both brands, that feature villains as the main cast, and that is Lego DC Super Villains, which is a very fun game. I might add, I suggest you guys go ahead, pick that up, and give it a try. If you like Lego games, it is pretty fun. Now, Suicide Squad is pulling a two birds with one stone scenario here, right? They are the second superhero, well, not superhero, they are the second comic-based game from Marvel and DC to feature villains as the main villain cast, and also have the game revolve around them, which I do give Rocksteady props for. And they are using B and C list characters to round out the cast, because this easily could have been a Legion of Doom centered game where we got Joker, Luthor, Reverse Flash, Cersei, Sinestro, Grid, the direct counterparts for each of the main league members. But instead, we got the bottom of the barrel, which is literally the whole point of the squad. Now, before y'all jump on my neck about them being B and C tier characters, you have to think about when everything went into planning. These characters at the time they were picked were not as major as they are today. Harley definitely would have been the most famous of the main four at B tier, right? Now, 2016 hit with the first Suicide Squad movie. Boomerang, Deadshot, and Harley's popularity stock skyrocketed after that, with them showing up more outside of comics. You started seeing them more in games, in cartoons, in the movies. Harley Quinn is on season 4 of her own cartoon right now, of her own TV show on HBO Max. Harley, to me, as of right now, is considered an S-tier character, and I feel like everyone else would agree, right? She's definitely gotten the most love, as her character has consistently evolved drastically under the public eye. Deadshot is sitting in the cool A tier, and both Boomerang and Shark are now B tier. My point here is that the developers were not expecting these characters, let alone the entire squad as a name in itself, to become this popular outside of the general comic fan crowd. So them taking a chance ended up playing out in their favor, right? Because all of the popularity that's kicked in from the movies and the cartoons is now being reciprocated over to their game, in a sense, right? Like, oh, there's a Suicide Squad game, I might want to check this out. Now, this could possibly open the doors to experimenting with other characters in the DC universe who didn't, you know, bond and reconcile their issues over the name Martha. This entire game is an idea that has only been executed once by LEGO DC supervillains. There's no reason why we have an infinite universe of characters, yet almost 50% of these games belong to Batman himself. Example, give us a Booster Gold game where the story revolves around jumping through time, changing certain events back to normal because somebody is trying to screw with the timeline. Like, for example, making sure that Jaime is the one who gets a scarab and becomes Blue Beetle, or making sure that the Titans never had a direct hand in the killing of Deathstroke's son, which is part of the main reason Deathstroke absolutely hates Dick Grayson. There are so many stories and characters that can be used, and they're not. I'm genuinely tired of hearing about how Bruce's mama got her pearl snatched. This is another thing to mention as well. So recently, Suicide Squad has been taking some solid negative hits in the gaming world upon the information dump we had during the state of play. And one of the burning questions that is still being asked is, why wasn't this just a Batman Arkham game? And it has a very simple answer that only takes a simple Google search. They didn't want to do another Batman game. They didn't want to do another one anytime soon. We're now in a position, after finishing the trilogy, of knowing that whatever they did next would be different, way different from what they did before. They wanted to try something new. Now, will they go back to Batman in the future? Maybe, possibly. Things might have definitely changed now with the passing of Kevin Conroy. May his soul rest in peace. I don't even want to think about how that process is gonna change now. But will they revisit Batman? Who knows? But we do know that it's not gonna be anytime soon. But there's also another issue rising here. If this game does bad, everybody was already asking for another Batman game before all this, but those voices are gonna be even louder this time due to all of the hate and distress people feel from Suicide Squad, and that's gonna do nothing but restart the cycle and wind us up back in a loop, a 5 to 6 year loop of Batman games running up the scoreboard 3-1 in terms of how many Batman games we get compared to DC games in general. And that same conversation will spark up again. You guys want different games with different characters and ideas, but when you get them and you see them without even playing them, you trying to run them to the ground before they see the light of day, and that hurts the game way more than you think it does. You guys have to see the hypocrisy in saying that you want game developers to make the games that they want, right? To have more freedom to work on what they want to work on. But then you turn around and you try to strong arm the devs into making a game that you want and bullying other gamers not to support the project just because you don't like it. Everything I said here all connects to my overall point. Just to sum it up, I do think choosing to go with supervillains this time around was a good idea. I'm extremely excited for this game. I applaud Rocksteady for jumping out of their comfort zone and attempting what we have come to know as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's a gamble for sure, especially in this day and age where we've had a bad string of live service and live service-esque games, but at the same time, Rocksteady has also had the benefit of sitting back and watching where these other games miss the mark so that they can ensure they don't repeat history. Now, I do have faith in them. They haven't really given me a reason not to. I can't speak for everybody else who switched up. Now, the game could be amazing or it could be booty butt cheeks. We won't know until we get to play it, but I'm gonna say the same thing I said for Gotham Knights, Midnight Suns, and Avengers. Good or bad, as long as the game runs like how it's supposed to, I can enjoy myself. How everyone else is feeling on Twitter and the internet, them. If me, myself, and I can enjoy the game, then I feel like I got my money. I feel like I got my money's worth. So that's gonna bring us to the end of the video. If you guys had a great time, please let me know down in the comments below how you feel about supervillains being the focus of Rocksteady's new game. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know what it is I can improve on. But in the meantime, I will catch you all in the moonlight. Peace.